Wonderful. So, as you can see here, hopefully on my screen, I am the executive business partner, which most of you know as executive assistant. And I work with Roger Scott at Confluent, which you can see here on this next slide. I've been a business partner to Roger Scott, starting at New Relic and now at Confluent for the last few years.
Hey, Candace, sorry to interrupt. We can't yet see your slides. You'll need to share your screen.
Oh, so sorry. I can go backwards. Share my screen. And there we go. Now can you see my slides?
Yeah, I can see your slides now.
Wonderful. Okay, moving forward then. This is the slide that I'd gotten to, talking about my partnership with Roger Scott. I will again be back to this slide later on, so I'm going to move past that. First, I think it's important to explain what Blackfluent is. In the literal sense, the word is a combination of Black and Confluent as a result of the company name plus the focus group name. To me personally, it means how to speak to your Black colleagues, peers, and community members. Taking you back to the beginning of my journey, this is my very first day of kindergarten in 1984. That's my mom and my almost 4-year-old little brother helping me onto the bus. My father was taking the photo. After stepping on the bus, I looked for a place to sit down, and for the first time in my life, I heard the utterance of this word. A little boy called Danny was the little boy who spewed the word at me and caused me to wander up and down the aisles of the bus, very much like this scene from the beginning of Forrest Gump. I eventually ended up sitting in the front seat, which was reserved for students with disabilities, which I didn't know at the time. I sat next to a young man called Eric that had mild form of cerebral palsy. Eric was my first friend, and he taught me a lot about humility in the years to come. After school that day, I went home, told my parents what happened, which prompted what we call the talk. The talk is the formation of what becomes a natural understanding of the way that the world works when you're a child. A world that our ancestors were thrust into and that we inherited. This creates a dynamic in which we culturally were taught what was expected and proper of us to blend in a white-owned world. In other words, we are all white fluent. Regardless of if we choose to behave in a manner that shows that, or one that potentially helps us in the world, we are taught and aware of how we need to behave should we decide to. Moving along to my journey to high school, this is Hudson High School in Hudson, Ohio. Hudson is a small middle upper class suburb in Ohio, which is extremely similar to the dynamic of Palo Alto if you're from California. You can see by the demographics taken from the year 2000 in the upper right-hand corner that I was the literal minority in my high school, especially at that time in 1997 when I went. Specifically, you can see me swimming in the sea of my senior classmates. And if you can't find me yet, I'm right there. More importantly, on the day that this picture was taken, it's the same day that everybody signs yearbooks, passes around school pictures, and hopefully gets one from their crush. I received one from someone who is not my crush, but I think I might have been his. Kyle passed me this picture at the end of homeroom on the last day of school and disappeared before I had a chance to process the PS. I've always wanted to tell you that you're super pretty for a Black girl. I know what Kyle was trying to say. Unfortunately, the veiled insult in the comment took precedence even in my 18-year-old mind. Kyle was definitely not Blackfluent. At the time, I didn't realize how desensitized I was to things like this because it's just the way that things have always been. After high school, college, and a decade in the legal field in Ohio, I moved to San Francisco. When I arrived, I leaned on the same tools that worked for me in Ohio. I learned that I was able to move forward really quickly and blend, as many of us do, if I wore my hair straight instead of curly. These quotes were taken from an article written in 2013, so you can imagine how much more applicable they were in the 80s and the 90s. The fear of wearing my hair in its natural state of curls in corporate America was really real. And as I mentioned, it followed me to the Bay Area, wherein I wear my hair straight for every interview and for the majority of my tenures at Salesforce, Lyft, and Ripple. It wasn't until I arrived at New Relic and began working alongside of Roger Scott, that I was encouraged to bring my authentic self to work, and then again encouraged to bring that same authenticity with me to Confluent. I'm very thankful to Roger and to New Relic in general. Either way, when Roger asked me to join him at Confluent, I was extremely nervous that I would be sliding backwards into the blending. But a few weeks after joining the company, I was approached by the head of diversity and inclusion team and asked about the possibility of forming an employee resource group, now known as Blackfluent. Within those efforts, our newly forming resource group came up with the following mission statement. The mission statement is to grow and empower the Black communities within and outside of Confluent while fostering meaningful action from allies. We want to promote understanding through community engagement, promote awareness through professional development, demote discomfort through encouraging a sense of belonging, demote misunderstanding through allyship, offering a safe space to engage. And some of the ways we plan to do this are through the executive sponsorship, using our executive sponsors and their connections to get the things that we need to make this group work for us and for the employees, the equal opportunities in organizations with career counselors and such, observing other mentorship programs from other companies to get ideas about how we can help the people in our company and grow inside and then outside when they're not even at work, and community building and leveraging resources from previous jobs. It's really important to the group, its leaders, and me specifically, to create a space where any and everyone can be Blackfluent, should they wish. And I look forward to working with my colleagues at Confluent to provide a space where they can do that, learn, and grow. And thank you all for your time.
Hey, that was really awesome. Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.
We have a question for you from Valerie. She asks, do you like the idea of the word Blackfluent becoming mainstream vocabulary? Because it's such a positive word, and fluent has a connotation of being well-read in a subject. And fluent indicates someone that has taken the time to study the subject as opposed to generally getting it.
Yes, absolutely. That specifically, I came up with the word Blackfluent, so it means even more if it were to go mainstream, because it's like hashtag Blackfluent, my word, but also obviously the bigger implications of that being that it would be so great if we can make that the mainstream word that people use to represent that type of inclusion and the way that they can speak to their peers with comfort. That would mean a lot. Absolutely.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.